Hi and welcome to another pedal preservation. Now I know I've said it in the past that the bike I was working on is the worst I've ever done, but this one truly is atrocious. This was donated into the bike library. We deemed it as unrepairable. Just everything was wrong. It's restoration, which is what we don't do. So it ended up in the scrap heap. There wasn't really any parts that were worthwhile saving, and I pulled this out several times. I thought, I'll take that home, I'll do it in my own time, and then I would put it back thinking, no, that's going to have way too much work. But I finally pulled it out and I took it home, and we are going to get onto this. And this does have severe issues. I mean, the back wheel is completely seized. I don't know what's wrong with that. There's just corrosion, rust, rot, well, you saw from the pictures, everywhere. Now, I have actually cleaned it. As you can see, I've gotten the stour off, but there is so much more work to do. So before we get on to it though, please like and subscribe and make some comments down in the comments, because it always helps their algorithm. I'm really struggling to get traction on the videos as of late, only getting a few hundred views, so if you could help out, that would be awesome. Let's go. Right, let's start breaking things down. Unfortunately, everything is seized. Yeah, nothing's working, so I can't. Yeah, locked. You know what I'm going to do? Let's give everything a wee dose of the GT85. That might just help loosen things off. May as well hit the ground running with most of it. We'll see how we get on. Right, I might have to do this video a wee bit more abbreviated, because there's going to be so much to do that it would just end up as an insane video. So I think what I'll kind of do what some of the other content creators do. Flipping heck. I don't know what's going in there, but I think that, I thought the wheel was actually, the hub was seized, but actually I think it's the, yeah, I think it was the discs. Ooh, that is nasty. We'll be replacing all the cables, so we're just going to cut everything off. In fact, take the chain off first. All this stuff. We'll give it a quick clean first, and then we'll put it in the ultrasonic. It does look somewhat manky. Rather than crapping up the ultrasonic cleaner, I could take a lot of that off. Everything is coming off. Yeah, see, things like all that are solid. I'm hoping the only thing I'll need to actually replace is the front forks, because I'm pretty sure the front forks will be beyond repair. Well, put this, they'll be beyond, I think, an acceptable limit, albeit they probably would work. If I did, which is okay. Proper one. Oh. Boom. Wear tear wise, it doesn't look too bad, so I think we're going to be okay. I mean, looking at the wear on, see where the SRAM is, normally that's where your foot rubs, so I don't think the bike's actually had a lot of use despite the state. Right, if we can get it out easy, we'll take it out. Oh, of course, that was probably not the right thing to say. Oh, no, there we go. Come out easy. So looking at the colour of it, that's actually all in good condition. Get that cleaned up and it'll go back in. Right, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start taking all the cabling off and stuff. To be honest with you, these outers are all fine. And the wee thing is the inside of the cable. I mean, look at that cable there, it's like new. I think what's happened is the bike's actually had very, very little use, and it's just been left outside. You know, simple as that. Just left outside. Might be able to blow these off. Oh, got it. Don't know if I'm going to be able to reuse these because they do look a bit gubbed. But this is going to work. Oh, it does. Oh. Well, there you go. Boop. Oof, see? Oh, hear that? That's not good. Actually wondering, I might not be able to slide this off the end if this is so tight. Just going to whip this off. Give me the slack that I need. I mean, we'll be taking it off anyway because I say these are probably too far gone. Right. These actually look like nice brakes. These Clarks. That should be Clark's brakes. I mean, they do use them. I mean, these are probably all salvageable. I mean, and some of the stuff doesn't look good, but we're going to have to figure out what's going on here because this hose is just so short. SRAM shifter. Get them all recabled. Yeah, as I say, nothing's working. It could just be all the pistons are seized. Oh no, well actually I've got a bit of movement in there actually. I think give these a damn good clean in the ultrasonic, they might come back, or at least, you know, get us on the right road. I think these are already on the way off. Oh yeah, that's right, this was already slack. So we'll feel what the bearing, they actually felt okay. Hoping that if it's been sitting in standing water, the water shouldn't have gotten through. You know what, this is all looking real clean. Real clean. Oh yeah. There's a little bit of water in there, that was obviously me. Is it water or is it maybe, I don't know actually. It might be oil. I think it's water. There we go. Pull that off. Forks out. Bearings actually all look good. I wonder if it would be even possible. Yeah, see, that's all fine. I wonder if it's going to be possible to do anything, but look at that. That's got to be knackered. Surely. Yeah, I mean, they are seized. What I'll do is I'm going to have a rummage through my parts and see if I've got something about rather than kind of getting into this, which I'd rather not, because I just don't think I'm going to get that looking good. Okay, so this is what I've managed to find. So this is original forks. This is the ones I find. These are actually 29ers, so as you notice, slightly taller there. Now, here's the differences. This looks like it had about a 120. This is a 110, slightly less travel. The other slight issue as well, the stem, the steerer tube, is slightly shorter, which means that now it will go on, but where we had a pile of spacers sitting on top, we're not going to be able to fit any. So it does mean the bars will sit a little lower down. Now, what I could do is, in fact, looking at the bike, it actually has slightly riser bars, but they've actually been angled back. So if I actually get them in the proper position, that might be able to lift it back up. So it shouldn't make too much of a difference, but unfortunately, this is all I've got. Right, just for shits and giggles, I mean, I don't think I'll make any headway into these at all, but I just thought, hey, let's try. Now, these are pretty brutal. Normally, I wouldn't hit them with a wire brush first, but I thought, let's just, yeah, yeah, I don't think this is going to work. This is just Scotch Brite pad. Yeah, so what you can do is you can remove all the staining, etc. But what you're not going to manage to remove, you're not going to manage to remove the actual way the chrome's been pitted and come off. I don't think we're going to make any headway there at all. Yeah, see, these would just never be, and they're not even working. It's not even like they're pushing up and down, so yeah. Right, so good news is the fact that it was the disc brakes being seized on, so it looks like, yeah, everything else is actually moving okay. You know what, we're going to be taking all this off anyway, so we'll take it off in the right way. We won't be reusing it. Right, there we go. This will probably, I mean, give it a go. I think we're probably going to need a new cassette. Well, to be honest with you, that might just be the dirt. Right, trick on the cable ties so you don't waste them. Put them on backwards, like that. It's enough tension to keep it together, but you can still release it. So that, obviously that will be going in the bin. See, that feels good. Prefer centre lock brakes, but what the hey. We'll probably take this off and we can give this all a nice sand, etc. And we can also rebuild the hubs as well. Yep. Oh, there she blows. All right, so what we'll do, we're just going to back the nut out so we can get in with the grease gun. So something you're going to have to use a spanner on the other side. We'll do all the adjustments from this side and not the hub side, because the problem is with the not the hub side, the freewheel side. God, there's loads of grease in there. So we might be quite lucky that someone has looked after the bike before it was just, I believe the person said that the bike had been given to them, but it was still in pretty bad condition. Looking inside, the balls all look in very good condition, so hoping here this is just going to be a pack some new grease in here jobby. Yeah, so that's feeling good already. Right, hopefully we can get in enough. Yeah, everything's going on all right. There we go. Oh yeah, it feels good. It feels, there's like a, I don't know what it is, it takes the roughness out and then there's kind of like a nice gliding feeling. All right, get your nuts back on. Always remember to get your nuts back on, otherwise they'll just run loose. You do not want loose nuts. Yeah, it feels good, that. Right, what we will do, we'll get this nicked up and then we'll kind of see if there is any play. Because you just don't know until you've done it. I do not know. Put that on, just give it a... Nothing at all, that's remarkable. Almost too good. There we go. Nick that up. Let's say the free wheel hub feels absolutely brilliant. So what I'll maybe do is I'll maybe just give the wheel a wee clean while we're at it. Right, let's get the fork sorted out. But first thing I do need, these as you see, there's no cup for the bearings. So we'll need to get this off and get it swapped over to the new one. So we've got the gap now. It's on the run. There you go. Right, let's get some grease in here. that. Same on the bearing. Go. And we'll do the same on the bottom. We can get a bit more on here. Just making sure everything's got a good coating, just for rust prevention more than anything. Right peeps, here we go. And from the bottom, and then we've got the feeling. I need to come back to that one. Well, I think we're alright. God, these forks are heavy. And that sits on top. Now, right, thinner spacer. Boom. Off a previous bit. Not gonna work. Should have probably sorted all this out prior. Nice and clean. Screws I've wire brushed all them, bring them all back up again, so looking way better. There we go. Got it centralised, so we've got the wee star there, bring that to the front so they're actually going up the way, unlike how they were, because they were actually going back the way. This is the problem when, I mean, I love the Carrera bikes, but bloody hell, Alphas, come on. You get somebody who knows what they're doing to build the bikes. There we go. Right, bottom bracket time. Just going to give this a wee clean. There we go. Blast out. Fresh grease. Right, I've given the bottom bracket a wee coating of some grease just to give it some sort of a rust protection. Go. Right, as I say, there's a little bit of noise to it, but there's absolutely no play, so I'm gonna give that a small win. Right, the wheels are virtually ready to go on, so what I need to do is I need to get the and recut in. There we go. Now what that's done is it's roughened the surface of the disc, so when we put this back on the bike and the new brake pads hit the disc for the first time, it's going to transfer some of the pad onto the disc and vastly improve the braking performance. Sorry, I do apologise, I forgot to press record when I was putting on the disc. So, not the disc, the cassette, sorry. So I haven't filmed that, but you can see me putting the disc back on. Now remember, they do have a direction of rotation, so if you actually look at one side there will be little arrows, they're typically the outside, so if you do that then obviously we've got this wheel going this way, so that will be correct. Obviously save quite a bit of time, use electric screwdriver. There we go, put the skewer back on. In fact, what I'm going to do is, I'm just going to put a tiny little bit of grease along that as well, which I had not done. There we go, let's stick this one aside. Right, I want to work on the calipers now. What I have already done, I gave it a deep clean, so they're all good, but as you can see, we've got a lot of corrosion on nuts and bolts. I just want to bring up the, what would you call it, the cosmetics of it, as I'm sure these work perfectly fine. I just want to give them a clean up. Now we're probably going to get some hydraulic fluid out of this. Oh god, I was hoping this wasn't going to be like this because I don't have an Allen driver in Torx, so you needed to break it, as it were. Right, I'm going to have a couple of grub screws that we'll need to grub screws, sorry, couple of O-rings I need to take off because I don't want to grind those. We will be reusing them. So this is what we're going to do. Going to get these in the oh, actually just remembered now as well, I want to get these in as well. While I'm at it, may as well buff all those out at the same time. There we go, that, and this one comes in from the rear. There we go. I have actually already done all of this. I did it to the front just to make sure, because to be honest, it was starting to look like it's just none of this was going to work. But I managed to get the problem one, the front one, all unseized, so that kind of gave me the confidence to move forward. Right, back brakes back on. Now I'm going to have to fully bleed these all, and what makes it additional fun is it is dot, not it's not mineral, so that will be fun and messy. Yeah, actually wondering about these washers, if they're actually meant to be in on the outside. Well, what we'll do is we'll get this all mounted. I'll put the back wheel in and we'll see around about where the disc fits. So we'll nick them up just now and then we'll see where we are. Right, let's try the wheel in and see if we are where we need to be. I'm hazarding guess no. I think, am I? Yeah, I'll be able to. I just don't understand it. The whole point of me taking it off from the adapter was that it should go back absolutely spot on, and it didn't do that. So I have no idea why that is, but we're just going to leave that there like that. Call that done. As I say, I'm going to slacken this off so that the hose isn't under so much load. Although I'm actually looking, I've got that hose going to the inside, but I'm starting to wonder whether it would have been better going to the outside, because that just shoots off there. Oops. Actually, you know what, I'm just going to leave as is. Now I've just lost that bracket. Great. Right, I've put the wheel on because remember we have changed the forks, so this may not marry up at all right. So I kind of put that on so I could see where I would. Oh Jesus Christ! I'm freaking near that. We're definitely going to have to find an adapter. Right, this is the only adapter I've got, so I'm going to fit it and see if it works. I'm not entirely sure what this has come from. Might be one of my giant e-bikes, possibly. So we've only got 2 shots at this because we've got, well, one going one way, one going the other. And that is it. It's a hard one. Actually, that is looking pretty spot on. I have to say that is deeply random that that is even fitted. Again, I don't have the pad, so I can't complete it, but what we'll do is we'll tighten these up, this adapter up. Of course, the spacers that I had from the old setup really need to work. Got that upside down. So I've got a bit of leeway here with this mount. I think what I probably will have to do is I'll need to re-angle that, because I don't know if you remember, we didn't have an awful lot of play in those in the hose. The hose just seems to be oddly tight. I don't know why specifically. I'm going to leave that slack so that, but if it gets the bike done, yeah, something's touching. I don't know whether, because this bracket seems so close. Yeah, it needs to be left slack, but yeah, that just needs adjusted once we get the pads in. Right, what I'm going to do though is I'm going to slacken this off. Oh, there we go. And give that as a direct routing as possible. Oh, of course, I forgot to put that on the inside. Well, I haven't sorted out because I think, yes, I covered it early in the video that the rear derailleur is knackered, so I either need to buy another SRAM derailleur or go over to Shimano, because you can't mix them. That is a thing. Okay, I'm going to get the front brakes bled. Now, prior to starting the video, I did have to rebuild the front caliper because one of the pistons was coming out and twisting sideways. So as I haven't stripped these ones down before, I just thought it would be easier if I just got all that done and then we can go straight to the bleed. Now I'm going to be using .4, it's what I've got, because these are not mineral oil brakes, they're, what do you call it? .4, or I think it's .4 plus, you can use .5 as well. So what I've done, I've got the block in the brakes to keep the pistons out. And we're now going to see, I've not bled these before, so I honestly don't know how well this is actually going to go. So you probably can't see it. If I just lift you up there, we've got like an open reservoir on these rather than the usual, what is a bit more normal is you have, you know, like the large cups as a reservoir. So this has got like an open reservoir. Now we have a little bleed nipple for putting the oil in, and it should be just a case of pushing it all up and it'll overflow out here. So to do these, I've left the caliper slack because obviously the brakes are not on yet. We just have to slacken this off to open it up, and then I'm going to fill the syringe full of oil. Oh dear, I can't quite lock that off. There we go. Now, as this is .4 oil, you've got to just put tissues and stuff everywhere because it's not very pleasant stuff. Right, let's see how this goes. As I say, I haven't done this yet. I have had obviously the full system broken down. A wee bit leaking there. And what I'm going to do is just keep a... Right, so the key seems to be to go incredibly slowly. And it's now starting to fill up here. There we go. Let's see if we can... Oh. So what I'm going to do is, I'm just going to lock this off. So we get no push back. So that'll stay on. You see that coming? Slowly does it. You know, rather than unfortunately, just going to pump that and see if we can get the air out rather than, because it is actually trying to pump through on the other side as well. Whoa! See, you gotta go so slow. Oh, gee whiz! I am barely touching that, and that's squirting out. Probably a good idea to wear. I mean, I'm wearing glasses, but might be a good idea to wear safety glasses. I'm just going to nick off the syringe on the bottom. God, this stuff is not nice. It's just going everywhere, and as I say, it's flipping hydraulic fluid, but I don't know what that's going to be like, so we're just going to top it up from here. And then we can put the lid back on, and I think we're safe after that. That was not a... I don't know, maybe it's why they don't have reservoirs like this anymore. So, just getting my hand in the road, just I don't want to get the tissue sandwiched in there. Right, that feels like that's all on now, and that is rock solid. Of course, my only other things, I'm just hoping that both pistons at the other end are working okay. I can't completely finish it because I haven't got my, what do you call it, I haven't got, the pads haven't turned up yet, unfortunately. Yeah, got to make sure this is well cleaned. This is not like the usual mineral oils, which are all fairly, well, I mean, mineral oil is just like baby oil, but that is solid. I have the pads here, and assuming, I think they'll go in this way, kind of hoping they're going to snap in. Don't want to risk getting any fluid on them. Or right, so I've got one pad in. Ooh, that was imperfect, so surely this one can go in as well. Oh, there we go. Right, and then we need pin. Here it is, circlip for holding this on. It's just the pin. Should go right through. There we go. But I got a feeling this is going to be, yeah, it's going to be tight as. Oh, there we go. Might be okay. Might be a little rub at first, and then hopefully it should ease off. Oh, I've got a feeling the skewer might be on the short side because I've got to literally have it to the last thread. Oh, is this not wanting to go in any further? Oh, don't know what's holding this off. We'll try the basic. We'll pull the brakes on while this is all slack, tighten it up, and then see how we're sitting. I have to say, I find this rarely works. Actually, I know that sounds like it's rubbing all the time, which it is, but I think we're going to have to bed these discs in, these pads. I think we're going to have to take a bit of the pad material off because I just think there's not a lot of room. I've got the pistons all the way back in, but it's like it's not quite enough. Right, I've already moved the brake block out of this one because they're such a wrestle to come out. I think now, I think the mistake that I've made on the front one and why it was a little bit tight is that when I took the block out, I thought the block was actually pushed the pistons all the way back in, and it actually hasn't. And I've been able to push these pistons in even further, so I think that's probably why there was a wee bit of rub on there. But if this goes in and there's no rub on this one, what I'll do is I'll redo the front. I will take the, what I think I will do actually is, I think I'm just going to put a tiny, because obviously you don't want to be dropping oil in and around your brakes, but I'm thinking these pads will actually slide. They'll be sliding along this little bar, and I think we just want to make sure that they will do that. Right, wheel. So no doubt be fun. Just try to do this without blocking everything up. Yeah, rubbing once again, but we'll do what we did on the other one. So pull the brakes on. Oh, of course, this has got, so it's got the Torx on it. So we'll do it up with this. You still see now it's not like pinned around. Nah, seems to be about the same. So I think it is just a case of the pads are against, there's just no gap there between the rotor, so I think that's the way it is. I think it's just going to be a case of these pads are going to have to bed in. I find sometimes as well the aftermarket pads have a wee bit more meat on them, so once again they just seem to rub all the time, but it doesn't look like they are going to, you know, I thought maybe, yeah, seems the way it is. I think we're just going to have to do some riding, I think, because I don't, that's not a case of where there's a gap on one side and not the other. There's just no gap there. As always, guys, if you know better, please down in the comments let me know, because every day's a school day for me. Let's crank it now. Crank it to the max. So the crank's cleaned up real nice, ultrasonic cleaner, a little bit of GT85 just to give it some luster, and then I gave the pedal a wee quick coat of some matte black just to bring it back up. Right, let's screw it. A bit dirty there, I think. Don't want to go in there too far. There we go. There we go. Right, it's now another day, and I think I've got all the parts now that I need to get the bike finished. So I've managed to pick up another derailleur, which I've given a nice clean and service. We've got the shifters that we had already, hence getting another SRAM X4 derailleur. Picked up a new front derailleur. It looks almost new. It's a Sunrace one, but they absolutely work fine, no problems at all. And of course, I've got a brand new chain to go on as well. So let's do it. So put the front derailleur on first. Would have been good if it was a 1x, but it is not. Right, you want to drop this down, get the right rough right height. So what we're looking at is when we pull this out from the top of the teeth to there, should be about 2 to 3 mil. Not rocket science, but you want to try and get that as close as possible. And then once again, when you're looking down, the flat face of the derailleur should be flat with your chain ring as well. And then you can just nick that up. So perfect there, that's going on, and it's also clearing the tire, which is cool. Right, so yeah, I was definitely trying to find another SRAM derailleur, because that means we can keep with the SRAM shifters and no need to change those. But that's exactly the same model that was already on it. There was a few chips and scrapes on it, which I've touched in with a touch-up pen, so that's all looking good. And what I did is stripped all the rollers down and gave them all a wee service and a grease. Right, I'll need to back out the brakes first, because the shifters will need to go on first. So we can just Slide that on, put the brakes on, and then we can get the grips out, so they'll sit quite nicely like that, actually quite nice. We'll get the grips out so we can get that distance correct. Right, it's got some fresh grips, so we need, as always, I'll use the alcohol and we'll just beat these on inside. And that should do the job. There she goes. There we go. Perfect. Slide the brakes back. We can come back and adjust the angles that these sit at later on, but that's typically a personal thing anyway. But that snugs in quite nicely actually behind the brake. Right, that's that, and now we can basically dig out the original outers because they're actually in good condition, and we'll get them all fitted back into place. Right, let's just feed all this back through. If I remember right, the original cables weren't actually too rusty there. They were only rusty where they were exposed. So the inside of the housings should be in good order. Now let's see how that lies, whether we'll go, yeah, I'll probably leave the brake hose on top. And that can just feed back into the frame there. I think that's where it was because there's a little bit of rub on the frame there. So we'll pop the cable down. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a little bit of oil on the little, I don't know what you would call it, gusset guide that goes under the frame that this cable will run through. Often missed, but actually very important because there's a lot of pressure gets put on that as it's pulled tight. See, there we go. Up she comes. Now, let's see how this one's actuated. Right, so this comes up round the back, down. It's maybe been sitting too long. Right, I've done a bit of playing about and I managed to get it to work. So that's 1 and 2. Only thing I'm thinking is possibly this reach is too far, but I'm not going to know until I get the chain on. Right, okay, so I've used the old chain to get this one to the correct size. It'll have to take about 3 sections off, so it should be pretty much in the ballpark now. Just can't remember what the method was, but it sounded nice and straightforward using an old spoke, but I need to go back and look at the comments to remember where I was. But thanks for reaching out. If you do have hints, tips on things you see that I'm doing, then just pop them down in the comments. I always read them. Right, let's get all the cabling for the derailleur done now. Right, let's yep, that's that one. To pull it off, not ideal, but I wasn't going back to redo the whole thing, you know, pulling the hoses off. Of course, this probably putting it back on is going to be a right old bit of fun. Oh, there we go. Woo, don't recommend that. Alright, alcohol. This is just alcohol and soapy water mix, but straight alcohol probably works better, but you just use more of it up. There we go. There's that one. Get roughly right. Shifter snugged up behind, as per the other side. There, that in the slot. Oh, look, not bad. Actually wondering whether I think I might have misplaced the end. I'm going to get another one. Right, this should be us this time. It is. Right, there's a little bit of routing on these SRAM ones. And where to run the cable? Is it through there? So, but again, is there a groove to go through? Oops. So that's the way it is. to, yep, see that slack in the cable? It's worth just going a good pull just to settle everything in. This will probably stretch out after a bit, being a new cable. That's why you get your bike serviced, your new bike serviced after a couple of weeks. Yeah, when I'm pedaling, oh, maybe it's starting to free off. But that lever there was sticking forward. See, like that. And then it's not coming back. So I'm going to get some GT85 in there. That, then we just work it. Right, we're now into the trimming stages, cables, etc. There we ferrules on. You know when you're putting your ferrules on that you are definitely in the closing stages of a bike. So the forks were working absolutely smooth. There was no reason to do a service. However, as a little quick trick they do down the bike library all the time, just to re-loop things, is just get yourself a wee skewer, pop it down in with some whatever, not what do you call it, not WD-40, it needs to be some sort of lubricant. Oh dear. Just get that down the backs of the seals and that'll just re-wet them. Like for a bike that's been sitting for a while and everything's just gummed up fork wise, it's amazing how much life you can actually get back into them just by doing that, just getting the seals going again. Any grease in there will get reactivated by the GT85, because that's kind of what it does. Right, test ride complete, and I can confirm that the new cassette or replacement cassette is working sweet. Having the mega range as well is ideal because I can get up slightly steeper climbs as well. So if the new user does decide to go trail riding and gets into the climbs, they won't have any issue getting up the hill. So there's no arguing. This was definitely the biggest transformation that I have ever done. It actually didn't need too much, but I have to say the work on the brakes was quite extensive, etc. We have had a few replacement parts, but as far as new parts go, it was really just the chain and the cables, because obviously the cassette was a replacement. We've saved the brakes. Obviously, yes, the front forks were completely goose, but again, we've recycled the forks off another bike. So you now have a bike that's ready now to do many more 100 miles, and rather being a full, like all the resources in the world going into it, like steel, aluminium, manufacturing, pollution, all that stuff, the bike was already here. And the bike's ready to go again. So, hope you enjoyed the video, and as I always say, like and subscribe. Down below, make some comments. You want changes in the way that I do things, more detail, less detail, brass band in the background, anything like that. My last video about the squeaky brakes, for some reason, because I'd been getting into this rut of getting hardly any views, and then suddenly that one blew up. Well, when I say blew up, it got like over 1,000 views, but for this channel, that was kind of insane. So you can just pop anything down in the comments, that would be great. And thanks for getting to the very end as well, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.